Welcome back to another TSTerra Plays Terra video. Today's video I finally have for you a Rampaging RRK9 guide. I also slowed down the video so that I could explain mechs better by voice. Healers typically shield this starting red AoE circle, and it will always be random if it hits in or out. And now we have the roller pin clap. Do you know the roller pin? If anyone in the front gets hit by it, it will cause a stun, and then if they're not cleansed in time, the boss will swirl. Next we have what's called the back stun. Basically the boss will hit the front and the back. Anyone who gets hit will be stunned. All of that is iframeable, but a lot of people will decide to get hit by it, wait to cleanse it, so that you can keep DPSing through and skip some mechanics, as this group did. Next is ventilators. Basically, healers usually want to put a Kaya shield up, or any type of shield, so that the teammates do not get flung in the air. We saw this earlier with text. That's the dance. Basically he does bombs. And now we go into a very shiny pull. You want to iframe that pull. If you don't, he's just going to pull you into that red AoE. And now we have threatening level rising. Basically you want to jump off the stage before he slams down. If you get hit by this, you will not only be dead, you will be silenced. And as you can see, when you land, bombs go in the air. You do not have to jump for bombs in this mode. Healers can heal everyone through it. They do not do that much damage. And another thing to mention about this boss, healers, be very cautious of your DPS. This boss throughout the whole fight does reflective damage to everyone in the group. So if you're doing a lot of damage during bombs, be cautious. You can actually just implode yourself. And this is the pizza mech, as people call it. You look on the ground, you'll see red slices. They don't do too much damage. You want to look for a spot that hasn't been hit a single time, and that's the safe zone. As you can see, our group killed it. And that's it for first boss. The final hit of pizza doesn't hurt that much either. Healers, you can heal through it. Now I'm going to show off bombs from a different run. If the boss is at a higher HP, he'll only summon 2 bombs. DPS, it's typically your job to go and break these bombs. The bombs do hurt, and once low enough, the boss will summon 3. And he usually does a pull, so you want to iframe that so he doesn't pull you away from the bomb. And you can see I got hit. 1 does not kill you. You do get slowed, and you take more damage. Now we move on to the second boss. So one thing to note with second boss is that he has pillars. You don't want to get squished, they will kill you. The first mechanic you'll see is orbs. Basically the boss is just going to target 5 people at random. He can target the same person 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row, or he will randomly target someone different every time. It's just random. I frame the orb so that it doesn't hit you. And typically you want to make a straight line or a cross so that everyone in the group can find this safe zone. The red AoE can be iframed if you need to go out into it. Next should be Saul's, but because of our group and what some people can do is you can actually cancel this mechanic. I am not going to give that away. I apologize. Yellow Swirl, you want to block or iframe that, as well as iframe this red AoE, or you can just stay out of it. The Swirl will give you a knockback, and the red AoE does do a bleed. As I mentioned with those presses, they hurt. That Swirl can knock you into a press and kill you. Next we have the Overhead Slam. That's more for a tank you want to get away. The second part is a Spit. DPS, you need to iframe that or move away to the sides. Tanks, you can block that for your DPS, but you will have to manually block. Warriors can't use Torrent or Rain. And there's that Swirl again. As you can see, I blocked it that time. And that's about it for the mechanics from this boss. There is 2 more I'll go over that are not in this video, in this portion of the video. That is Saul's, as well as some people call the cuddle mechanic, or that's what I call it. We'll get into those 2 very shortly. Those orbs can cause a bleed if you go inside of it, so try your best to not snipe teammates, as well as once they're placed. You can iframe in and out of them, but you definitely don't want to stand in them because they will hurt. So some extra mechanics. This is Saul's. You'll see Corrupt to Verify, he jumps back. Safe zone will either be middle, then you'll have to go far and then move over one. Or it'll start off center, then you go middle, and then you go far. You just kind of gotta guess. I like to stay a little in between off center and center. Shutting down, he'll do this dance. Basically, he wants you to go far away, and then you can come back into him. The other version of shutting down, I do apologize, I don't have it. If anyone has it, go ahead, throw it in. He'll basically hug himself and he'll do an outer explosion. So let's go over the third boss a little bit before we go in. As you can read the text, I want to go over generators. There are 5 generators. Typically healer and tank take the 2 closest to spawn. DPS go to the far back, and DPS kind of want to talk like, I'm taking mid, I'm taking back right, back left. This is important to discuss because this is how you activate extreme mode. For anyone who doesn't know, and most people when they run Rampaging RRK9, they're doing extreme mode for the extra loot. It's just like back in before Awakening, people ran arcade hard mode. They did extreme mode, they didn't do hard mode. So definitely make sure everyone's on par with this, because if one generator is not gotten, the shield's not gonna switch to the other shield, you're probably not gonna break it, and it's just a whole mess. It's easier just to talk. If you're running with people you know, not much needs to be said, but if you're new to this dungeon, definitely ask, make sure you're on par. So that's just the generators. You just run up to the one you need, press the A button, wait for it to finish. Again, as I mentioned, there will be a shield. If you don't break either of these shields, if you decide to do hard mode and you don't break the first shield, your team will wipe. If you do extreme mode and you guys can't break that shield, you will wipe. So third boss is a lot about DPS checks. And again, generators, it's important that everyone knows what they're doing just to make the run that much smoother. The next thing I want to go over is the mechanic, as I call it. Basically, it's the main mechanic of this boss, and a lot of people will know it as in, out, and or wave. The text will explain as well, but basically, you know, if you're doing extreme mode or hard mode, you need to know that melee is out, full range is wave, and range is in. This is important because when I say in the video and when you get to that part in the dungeon, the mechanic, you know what you have to do for the mechanic. You'll know if you have to go in to out, in iframe the wave. Basically, you got to do what the boss tells you to do. And as you can see here, I made a little chart. The other thing to note, if you're doing hard mode, you don't have to worry about the number portion, but you got to remember range, melee, full range, and you got to remember the order. Hard mode, it will always be what comes first comes first. So if the boss says range, and then the next thing he says is melee, you have to go in, wait for the out explosion, get out, and don't get hit by the in explosion. Now, hard mode also has triple S bombs under 70%. This is the same with extreme mode. If you do hard mode, you always go in, you don't have to worry about anything. Extreme mode, you have to understand what 1 and 0 means. So basically 1 and 0 go for two things. It tells you whether if S-bomb you need to be in or if you need to be out, as well as it tells you the mechanic that was said, if it's first or second. This is just like RK back in the old day, except for now you have triple S-bomb and you have to know whether you have to go in or out. So for an example, let's say we're doing extreme mode, the boss says range, then we know the mechanic's in. If what happens next is the boss says 0, we know in is second, and we know if triple S-bomb comes up, we have to stay out. And then if the boss says melee and hasn't switched parameter and it's still in second, then we know the mechanic is out in. That's about it. It's very simple. It's complicated when you first learn it, but once you get it down, the dungeon's quite simple. Typically, healers will put the numbers in chat. They'll also say what mechanic is, and basically whatever is the second mechanic or the second thing said, that becomes the next first. That's about it for the main mechanic. And also, again, remember what numbers was said for S-bomb. It's very important because when you do triple S, you need to know whether if you go in or out. There is a glitch, I don't know if it's been fixed with this recent maintenance, but if 0 is the first number and you push the boss from 95 to under 70% without the boss doing a triple S-bomb, be cautious. Everything you know goes out the window. You're gonna have triple S, do it, and then go in, and then go out. For whatever reason, the boss freaks out if your DPS is too high, and you're gonna have to do a crazy in-out. It's not fast, but it's something to take note that that's the only time that it'll say 0 and you have to start with an in. So now we start the fight. Do notice if you're a tank, I do not enrage the boss off the start. That is because in extreme mode, when you do break the shield, he naturally enrages, and to push 5% just to waste that enrage is not worth. As you can see, he said full range. And for S-bomb, I eat it, but you would want to take a step back and go away from the fist. Protocol, we run over to our generators, we go up to them, we press A, and this is what I was talking about. At this point, everyone in the team completes it. He falls over. Now we have to break this shield. This is a DPS check. And from here on out, this whole fight is a DPS check. Once this is broken, you will, as a group, have 10 minutes to clear this, or you wipe. And as you can see, the boss was also enraged, and I will re-enrage it. We also now have our parameter. We know that the mechanic is wave, and wave will be first. We also know if we see triple S-bomb that the mechanic, we have to go in. Target lock on, that is a range check as well as a res bait, and here we have the mechanic. So we know it's wave in. Again, target lock on. Fred was kind enough to res bait for us. Healers, you typically want to get both of those so DPS can keep going. The mechanic you just saw there was radar detected. Someone needs to go out and make sure the boss notices them, and basically that allows people to not get stunned and die. Now we have triple S-bomb. Go away from the fist. I damage reduction it. Typically you want to do what Fred's doing. You'll see you stand on one side, go to the other, go back. Each their own. Triple punch causes a wave for DPS, as well as tanks. You want to iframe that last hit, it hurts a lot. And the mechanic I did miss in voice was double hit. Double hit as a tank, you don't have to worry, he's actually doing it right here. But DPS, that last hit towards you guys is a stun. If you get hit by it, you will be stunned, and it is not cleansable. There's nothing anyone can do for you. You have to hope he doesn't do anything to kill you. One thing I didn't put in text is that it's about 50 seconds to a minute, I believe, for every triple S-bomb. And I think the mechanic is roughly a minute 30, if I recall correctly. As well as shield is every 2 minutes. So throughout the fight, the boss is gonna summon a shield. It's a pretty tanky shield. So if not enough people are up and can't break it, it's a wipe. Here we can see we have the mechanic. So part of it's out. So it's going to be in and then out. And that's just due from all the information we've had from the start of the fight. Now we have triple S-bomb. Again, go opposite side. Usually you want to go back and forth. Like I said, I just damage reduction. Each their own. If you can eat one, then you don't have to go back and forth. And as you can see on the timer, we are approaching 8 minutes. So we should be getting the shield mechanic very shortly. that's that cross. That is the mechanic I was mentioning at the beginning with the healer, the res bait, and range check. Basically, you as a healer don't want to get too close. You can snipe your team. Here's the shield. Basically though, with the cross, you just you wait for the cross to spawn and you just move out of it. Be cautious not to go where the X actually is, because you know, if you stand on it, you're dead. And then that shield's just damage. Just do DPS and you'll break it. If everyone's up, you shouldn't have to worry. Tanks, if you feel like your DPS is really low, you can hold your enrage for that if the fight's taking a long time. Healers, you can save Edict and, you know, Wrath and stuff. And as you can see, I made an oopsie here. This was in my 13-hour stream. Towards the middle end of it, I was very tired, and yeah, things went a little bad. But this is probably one of the most solid runs I have on recording that I still have in my inventory of files. So it's been kind of tricky for me to get a group for this dungeon. But that is about it for all the mechanics. Feel free to sit back and enjoy the end. I hope this guide is able to help some people. I apologize, I'm also a little sick, so my voice probably sounds a lot more scratchy than normal. But within that, here we go, Rampaging RRK9 guide. As I did mention, I did record this during my 13-hour stream. I do plan to be streaming a lot more. I mentioned that, I want to say last Sunday in my video, or in the video of I didn't know what was happening with Tera. I'm really happy to see that Tera console is gonna still be going. I've been hearing that we might be getting some PC players, so that's really cool. I'll be excited to meet all of you guys coming over from PC. And yeah, let's just enjoy the game for how much time we have left with it. You know, I'll keep posting guides as I complete stuff. I plan to stream a lot more. I'm actually pretty close to affiliate, so anyone who hasn't gone over to my Twitch, please head on over, shoot me that follow. I think currently I'm at 33 out of 50, and that's the last thing I need. So any love would be much appreciated, and again, I can't thank you all enough. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and if you enjoyed any of the music, links are down below. And hope to see you around in Aboria, gamers.